Well, good afternoon. It's Todd again. It's Thursday the 16th. It's a beautiful afternoon here in South Georgia, and it's time for another visit from Recovery from the Half House. Sitting out here in the front yard, I thought I'd talk about today's topic, sponsorship. So, what is a sponsor? Well, if you've chosen to work your program through one of the fellowships such as AA, NA, Overcomers. Not familiar with Celebrate Recovery that much, but I would assume they do support sponsorship as well. Then one of the important aspects of all of those programs is that you get yourself a sponsor. A sponsor is someone who has some time in that program that you're in, who can walk you through the program and can help you work the steps. There's no set rules or guidelines about how much more clean time a sponsor has to have than you do. There's no set steadfast rules about who your sponsor has to be. It is suggested that men sponsor men and women sponsor women, but it's not a hard, fast rule. It's just a guideline. It is suggested that the only rule for finding a sponsor is that you find someone who is at least one step ahead of you. Because you can't have a sponsor that's working the same step that you are. You need somebody who has already been where you are to help you guide you along the path. So how do you go about choosing a sponsor? Well, I can tell you how I did it. I can share my experience in choosing a sponsor. I've had a couple different sponsors. My current sponsor is who I've had the longest. I've had some sponsors that were chosen for me. They didn't work out too well because I didn't choose them personally. The sponsor that I have now, I chose personally, and he and I are working out great because I chose him personally. I chose him because I liked what he had to say. I chose him because when he spoke in a meeting, I paid the most attention to what he had to say. I agreed with what he had to say the most. What he said during meetings clicked with me. He has the recovery that I want to have. So I want to be where he is and where he's going. So I chose him to be my sponsor. To get somebody to be your sponsor, all you got to do is ask. The worst they can tell you is no. It's not the end of the world if they tell you no. So what does sponsorship entail? Well, the sponsor just walks you through the steps. They give you tasks and assignments to help you complete the steps. They give you reading assignments, maybe some written assignments, work to help you work your individual steps. They meet with you, compare notes. But when you find somebody that's going to be your sponsor, it needs to be very important that you build a level of trust, because there's a very good possibility that you're going to be working the fourth and fifth step with this person, specifically the fifth step. It's not required that you do the fifth step with your sponsor, but there's a very good chance you're going to be doing the fifth step with your sponsor. And that's where you're going to be sharing everything your inventory from your fourth step. That requires a great deal of trust, a high level of trust. And there's going to be a bond formed there. So you need to make sure that if you're going to be sharing that with your sponsor, that if you've already not built a high level of trust, that you this is somebody you're going to be able to trust. Why is sponsorship important? Because this is a we program. This is not something you can do alone. You need to have somebody to guide you through the program. You need help. And we don't always have somebody there in meetings. A sponsor is somebody that if you're having a hard time, if you get triggered, if you feel like you want to drink, you feel like you want to use, your sponsor should be the first person you reach out to. They're kind of there for you night and day. If you're just having a hard time, if you're having a problem, if you feel a resentment, or if something's bothering you, you call them and you bounce it off your sponsor. They're kind of a sounding board for you. A different voice other than maybe a spouse or a friend. Kind of another voice of reason. Somebody who's... Because a spouse or a friend hasn't been through the addiction, hasn't been through the same stuff that you have. The sponsor's been there. They understand that. They can think like you think. But they have a new way of life now, a new way of thinking, something that you aspire to now. And you want to possibly see things the way they see it now. They can give you that way of seeing things now. So, those are my thoughts on sponsorship. Sponsorship's extremely important. If you're new to this program and you haven't gotten a sponsor yet, do it as soon as possible. Don't be shy about it. Go to a meeting, listen to people, find somebody that you're drawn to, ask them to be your sponsor. If it doesn't work out, just go to them and say, hey, thanks for taking this time to be my sponsor right now, but it's just not working out. I think I'm going to find somebody else. If they're mature enough in their recovery, they're going to say, hey, not a problem. Thanks for giving me a shot. Good luck in your recovery. Hope it works out with your next sponsor. If they throw a fit about it, you didn't need them. They didn't need to be your sponsor anyway. But good luck to you in your recovery. Those of you who are just starting this program. And that's it for me for right now.